where you can expect result if you start from zero, if you don't have anything at the beginning in place. Most people say 60 to 90 days, then it starts flowing, then it starts rolling, then the opportunities are starting to come in. I've seen this with my client. It was really fast, but now after 2 months, I see that it's getting a more solid foundation. 2 months.
That's
So it
insane.
goes
Unperceivable that you get any kind of real lead that somebody buys something within 60 days. That is, LinkedIn is a special tool. That's for certain. Hello and welcome to Marketing for Healers, part of the HolisticCircle Spiritual Conversation series. And I'm very happy to have here with me Victoria Roessel from originally Vienna, Austria, but I think you're right now in Athens. Is that correct?
almost. So I'm in Greece, but I'm in Crete right now on the island.
Oh, wow. How nice, right?
Yeah, it's really nice. I
Cool.
mean, today it's
Okay.
today it's raining a lot, so it was thunderstorms in the morning like crazy, but it's super beautiful here.
Of course it is, especially this time of the year.
Yes.
Well, that is already a very good start because you're in Greece, so I can a little bit get the Greek vibration coming my way. So it's already, my day is looking brighter.
That's perfect.
I told you I'm the world's biggest Greek fan, so there you
I
go.
know you told me you want to live here later. Yes.
For sure. All right, so this is a conversation about marketing, and you work in the
Exactly.
field of marketing, and you also specialize on healers and therapists and people who have personal mission, a personal message. That's what your strong side is. And very specifically, we will come a little bit to your background and all of it. We talk today about a very interesting subject because I think it's a little bit of a religious thing. Either you're completely into it and figure out it's like the best place in the world, or you're like, I'm not interested. It's LinkedIn marketing. So that's an interesting one because it's a sub-religious kind of philosophy. But before we get into that, would you maybe be so kind and make a small introduction about your background and whatever you feel like sharing?
Yes, of course. I'd love to. So, like you already said, I come originally from Austria, but I've been traveling a lot the last years and I have a marketing background. So, I was working in a big corporate company. And 2 years ago, I decided to quit my job to go on a mission for myself, if you want to say it like that. And I wanted to start something for myself, so not work for somebody anymore. And that's why I came also across LinkedIn marketing. My partner is working in there. It's a really interesting field. And since a few months now, I focus on that. I learned a lot. And that's why I'm also really happy to share what I've learned, what I already achieved there, the possibilities for coaches, for founders, spiritual coaches, especially. So, yeah, I'm happy to share that.
And we are happy to learn and happy to listen because there's so many different ways of marketing, but LinkedIn is a very special niche, as we already spoke. It's either or. I've never met anyone who's like a little bit on LinkedIn. Either you are or you're not. Do you have any theories on your own why LinkedIn is such a like an odd little corner?
It's actually really interesting, the question, because I myself, I was never on LinkedIn before, really. I had it, but I always thought it's more for corporate update. The companies are posting something. It's for the job search, for networking. But I would have never thought of marketing itself, that you can do it really on LinkedIn until I dove deeper in it and discovered it myself. So I don't know. You're right. Some people are really fully into it and they're also having great results. And some people don't use it at all. But I think that's also with other platforms like this. So either you like it, you don't like it.
Let's just quick tell our American viewers if your accent sounds familiar. It's of course Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is also Austrian. There's a lot of people now listening that in
That's
America, like,
funny.
I know this. What is it coming from?
That's
It's
fun.
our Terminator friend, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure I have a similar accent. Maybe it's.
All right, so we cleared this up, and the sound of music, all right.
Exactly.
But we won't start singing now because you know you're Austrian, so the people expect us to start singing. You know,
But I've never seen it myself, Sound of Music. It's very funny.
it's a world phenomena that the whole planet is obsessed with the movie Sound of Music that's about Austria and is hardly ever on Austrian television. And most Austrians never saw the movie.
Exactly. It's very funny.
It's a conspiracy theory if I ever heard one. But
True.
great. Okay, LinkedIn. I am such an old guy that I used to do, so to say, LinkedIn marketing when it was called Xing in the very early days of this platform. One of my early companies, years back, I used it for marketing purposes for that specific company and service. And then when they changed the name, and I also completely the same like you, I've used LinkedIn for many years. And until recently, a friend of mine said to me, "Oh, you're trying to promote stuff? Oh, go on LinkedIn." And I'm like, LinkedIn? Exactly the same reaction. And I started reconnecting, and it turned out to be an amazing tool. So give us a little bit of a very basic LinkedIn for dummies, like a small list of things, like how you see as a self-promoter, as a self-communicator, where are the strong sides, where are the elements that make LinkedIn an interesting platform?
But you have to first focus on your profile. I think it all starts there. So that you set up your profile, because a lot of people don't have a banner in place, for example, or they don't have really a nice profile picture, no about section, nothing. So people use it. They don't really have something. They have it in the back of their mind maybe, but they don't use it for anything. It's just there. And if you want to start, you have to start with the profile already in the first place, so that this is set up that you really, it looks professional in some way, but also authentic. So you show yourself how you are. That's the first start, also how you can connect with others in an authentic way. And your profile should not only be also just what you do, it should be also focused on how you can help others. If you want to focus on LinkedIn and use it to promote yourself, to build your brand on there. So that is the basic, I would say. That's where it all starts.
But who is on LinkedIn? You said it's a corporate thing. Is it still like in the early days, or who's the classic LinkedIn audience?
No, like this. No, I mean, there are a lot of course, companies also online, but a lot of coaches. That's why I also focused and work with them. A lot of coaches. It's a big field, spiritual coaches, career coaches. It doesn't matter who, founders, CEOs, you call it. There's so many people online. It's basically the whole world you can network with. And I think a lot of people have LinkedIn also. They just don't use it or don't know how to use it. So
That we
yes.
will come to that part later, because that might be a little bit the dark side of LinkedIn, that there are too many like dead profiles in a sense.
Yes.
And also I must a little bit give you contra. Interestingly enough, in Asia, LinkedIn is not so popular as Western countries, Central Europe and US. But I've seen that, for example, Korea and so on, LinkedIn is super weak.
But that's funny. And India also. There are also countries in Asia where it's super big. A week.
Also India, it's not so strong, not so strong. They're pushing it, but I've seen this because my podcast is worldwide. So I'm interested in reaching out, as you said, like the therapists or potential guests.
Yes.
That's one of the main things. I'm using LinkedIn to get in touch with people who are really interesting for me. And there are countries where I have like thousands of hits, and I can really choose and go through and see who is the perfect fit to my show. While other countries, it's basically you find two people on LinkedIn and that's it. So that's really interesting.
That's very interesting. But I am also connected. I have to say, I'm connected with people all over the world. India also a lot. US is big for sure. In Europe also, in the UK especially. Australia is big. So yeah, this market, they use it a lot for sure. There it's big.
Absolutely, I can confirm this. So you said, so the first thing is LinkedIn is a place everybody would say, let's say that counts the same for Instagram or whatever, like a profile, nice profile picture. But I think LinkedIn is a bit different with profile creation than other platforms.
Yeah, for sure. So you have a few parts where you just have to pay attention to that. You have a banner, that is appealing, where you write in what you do also and how you can help others. Then you have your picture, of course, and you have this profile tagline below. And in the profile tagline and also your about section below, you should not only talk about yourself, what you do, I, but it's also good if you talk about how you can support others. What is your vision? How you help others? Because if I go, for example, to a profile or to your profile now, it would be nice. Okay, that's what you do, and that's how you help others. So just to get a quick insight that that it also doesn't take too long to understand what you actually do. Yes.
So LinkedIn, that's also in old Xing time. So since the beginning, it's very sensitive. And I also have a feeling there's a LinkedIn community. I've noticed the people who use LinkedIn and like LinkedIn, they're almost a little bit like we are LinkedIn community. And they have the little rules and they're very picky about it. And a nice profile is one of the things
Mhm.
that the LinkedIn community appreciates.
True. It's really funny. There are some rules. I don't know who established it. I think also how you use it, you go with it, and people establish these rules somehow. But there are rules for your profile, for how you write, how you put content out there, the whole strategy behind it. It's a little bit of a game. You can also say it like this. But if you understand it and if you really go into it once, it's not so difficult anymore. And you just have to stay consistent with it. If you're really online on LinkedIn and you're consistent in that, you consistently engage with others, you put content out there, you do it in a professional way, it's a really nice platform to market yourself, to market your services, to market your product, to connect with others. You never know what comes out of it. You can have collaborations out of it, podcast opportunities like we are now. We also connected on LinkedIn. So you never know what actually comes out of it. So that's the beautiful thing there.
Absolutely. But again, most of the people who are watching now, they do not want to connect with other therapists because they are therapists. So they're specifically looking for clients. So which are the clients you can expect to reach out? Who, again, one more time, who is on LinkedIn? Well,
It a lot of CEOs and founders, I would say still. It's a big group. CEOs, founders, coaches, but like you said, it depends on the target audience. Because I was working, for example, with a coach now, and he was reaching a lot of his target audience. But you have to be super clear who that is, this one person you want to reach. And he wanted to reach, CEOs, founders more, people who have a leading position. So that was perfect because a lot of people are online and we reached a lot of people through that. But it depends. Honestly, everybody is on LinkedIn. And everybody sometimes just, or so many people just scroll through the feed and maybe they see done something interesting and they see your post and they have exactly this problem. And then they see this and they're like, oh, wow, cool. And then they click on your profile and they see, oh, wow, this person also has authority. I see who this person is. All of this plays a role.
I think that there's a lot of, as I said, professional LinkedIns. Everybody who's in HR is definitely on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
There's a
for
lot of
sure. Also.
job seekers who are on LinkedIn, young professionals, accomplished professionals, and basically everybody who is ever on the lookout for a new job opportunity. So who is in the professional field, somehow most likely is in LinkedIn one way or the other. And that's, of course, if we say it brutally, an amazing hunting ground for therapists and coaches and things like that, because they have people, professional people who most likely need coaching. So it is the ideal hunting ground. That's basically what I was getting at in a way.
Yeah. Yes. You said it very nicely. It's a perfect hunting ground. True.
So now that we know that, first of all, LinkedIn is a community, we know it's a specific community with its own very strong rules. It's very hard to just copy paste, just take something on Instagram and on LinkedIn. It's a different vibe. It's a different expectation. It's a different needs. It's more grown up. It's more serious. It's people who work. And LinkedIn still, I think it's now on a turning point, if I may give you a question, so to say, with a very long question. I have a sense now looking 10, 15 years ago in Xing and now back again, I have a sense like, oh, this is getting dangerous, that LinkedIn becoming just another Facebook. Do you see that there's a certain danger with LinkedIn right now getting a bit too much non-professional or non-content? You see this or just me?
It's a good question you're raising. I have to admit, I'm not so much in Facebook or Instagram myself, but sometimes it has a hang. I see also posts that are very like reels from Instagram, for example, that people do this. But in overall, no, I don't see it so much. It's still very focused on authenticity, posts that help others, information. No, I don't see it so much that it can go into hang of Facebook or Instagram. It's still very.
So the main message for the people who are listening now is, if you want to be on LinkedIn, you set up a serious profile, you respect the community and people looking for quality content on LinkedIn from grown-ups to grown-ups in a professional way. Can you a little bit talk about this?
Yes, exactly. And I can talk also a little bit about the content and maybe the content strategy, what you put out, because we've been now talking a little bit about your profile and the branding you put out there. But it's also super important. You have this feed in LinkedIn where you see all the posts that people put out there. And there are also its own rules, to be honest, how you put the content out there, when you should post, what to write about. All of this you have to consider in it. You have to have a whole strategy in it. Yes. And it's nice to have a nice profile picture, but you also have to know to whom you're speaking. So this I really want to give people on the way, because you have to know who is your ideal client you're speaking to, whom do you want to reach. Who is this one person you want to speak in your post in the feed to? And then when it comes to the content creation itself, there are again so many different rules. And I also see a lot of mistakes, or call it mistake, that people still do, where I would not click onto a post, for example. There are posts that are there are a lot of blocks in it. It's not really like space in between thought. It's just blocks. People write about different events they attended, some quotes they put out there, but not really some information that gives value to others. So you have to know how to whom to speak and how to write engaging content. That's also super important, because there's so many people on LinkedIn and so many different posts today, and you have to grab their attention. Otherwise, it's just a post and they will not click on it, and the chance is gone. Yeah, I know this was not a lot of information I want, but
Because we
yeah.
really now, people looking at us, they maybe never used LinkedIn or they just have that profile, and that's the people we're talking to. That's our audience. They need to get the information. They need to get it started on LinkedIn in a good way. So again, you turned out, set up profile, smart profile strategy, clearly whom are you talking to? And then we're going into content creation to have a more substantial, more grown up, more valuable content. Is that where we are basically right now?
Yeah, you can say it like this, but also how you create the content itself, you have to know. You have to know it's marketing, basically. You have to know which are your content pillars. It's like the categories about what are you talking actually. You have maybe 3 content pillars. For me, it would be marketing, personal branding. This is what I'm talking about in every post, always. Then you have to know the funnel system. It's like first you talk to a broader audience in a post there. It's called top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. And like this, you structure all your content because you want to bring the people into your world. You want to connect with them, maybe sell them something. They have to trust you. So with the top of the funnel, you build awareness first. You educate them about what you actually offer. With the middle of the funnel, you draw them into you. You build the trust for them. And then with this bottom of funnel post, you convert them. You convert them into your customers. They buy from you, your product, your services. So all of this is the whole how you put your content out there, the whole LinkedIn marketing. It doesn't help that you just go on your phone in the morning, because I see this also sometimes. Just go on the phone in the morning and you post whatever comes to your mind now about your business. That's not how it works. And that will not lead you, honestly, somewhere. The post will just be the post then. But if you have a really solid foundation and ground to whom you're speaking to, and also how you draw them into your world, that will lead you also somewhere. You will build trust, you will engage with others, and be it they buy from you or a new collaboration opportunity, whatever. But like this, you draw them in.
I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who the first time in their life hear the word funnel. So
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
it's not a common term, but we will most probably have at least 1 or 2 conversations here just with funnel experts, because it's a very big theme to understand a point of purchase history and the road towards. But it's just as the funnel is basically expressing a road a person takes from the first introduction to the final purchase.
Exactly. That's very nicely put also. Can be a road, can be this funnel, how you draw them in, whatever you want to see it.
So we will have at least 2 free conversations just about funnel, because it's a very interesting subject and is part of any modern, so to say, contemporary marketing strategy, basically.
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
All right. So we understand that when I always say just nice content, it's like you could speak 3 hours about the sentence nice content, because there's so much knowledge and information from you as a marketing expert in the simple, like Philipp saying, oh, make nice content. Yeah, this is your job, basically, to create this content. But before we go to your job and your services and why they're required, let's just finish up the LinkedIn to explain the platform, and then we go back to these questions about what you actually offer and why it's critical and so forth. So people have created now nice content. Now they want to make friends. They want to share. They want to engage. They want to connect. They want to build connection. And I guess this is what most of the people will be interested now, because their LinkedIn, again, is different than other platforms, right? It's not so much a money game. It's much more quality game or persistent game or friendliness game. Or just tell us about how you build connection, how you build this network, how does it work practically in LinkedIn?
You're addressing a really important point I also forgot to mention now. No, really, it's engage, 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 what you just said. It's not only that you now have a nice profile and you have the right content out there, but LinkedIn is also a network platform at the end of the day. And it's super important to engage in other people's posts, for example, in the comment section, to leave a thoughtful comment. Don't put AI comments in there, because a lot of people do this. And I think people don't really like to see that. Just put something what comes from your heart, that you resonate with them, like an honest comment. Like this already, you connect with others so much. Then you have this DM section where you can send the whole private messages. If you find a profile that's interesting to you, or maybe it could be a potential customer for you, you can just friendly connect us at the beginning. You don't have to hard sell immediately. You don't have to say, hey, that's what I offer. Do you want to buy from me? No, you can build first like real relationships, how you would do it also in life. So you can send them a message, say, hey, I like what you do. I'm happy to connect. Then you engage with them in their post. Then they already have you in the back of their mind. So it's like this, to build really honest and real relationships also on LinkedIn. And I see this also with a few people. They actually get friendships out of there also.
Let me stop you here, because I think now we can say something very important, and you'll be the one who's saying it. Just open the door for it. I think there is a massive misconception with almost everybody listening right now, because we all are fanatic about numbers. If I have an Instagram profile with 200 followers, if I have 30,000 followers, how sexy I am. And so we all got a little bit crazy with the bloody numbers. And interestingly enough, I would then always like to ask, when people talk about this, that, so you really can have 30,000 clients per day. Wow. You get a lot of time on your hands. So a little bit talk about, because I know that a lot of people listening to you right now are saying, I cannot just click one by one, say hello. How will I ever get clients?
Like this, you mean? Yeah, I mean, it takes a little bit of time, of course, to build your brand on LinkedIn and to engage with others. But at the end of the day, everything goes together. You put out your profile, you put out the content, you draw people in, so you can get also inbound leads, or you talk to others, so you have the outbound lead. You address them. But at the end of the day, you have to message them. There are also automated systems, but
Sorry, but what I'm saying is,
yes,
none of those therapists can have more than 5, 6 clients per day. So the numbers are not relevant. If you have 20,000 people follow you on Instagram, but you do not get client, what does the 20,000 number mean?
I like
So
this. Yeah, nothing.
I think that is a very important thing where LinkedIn is so different. Yes, you reach one by one. As you said, you post one by one, you connect one by one, but it's not like some heart on Instagram that just comes and goes and no one cares. This is what I'm trying to make people understand, that LinkedIn is still a real platform where people react on comments, where there is just talk, maybe help me here.
Yeah, exactly. And also what you just said with the followers on Instagram, for example, you also have the followers on LinkedIn. You can see the follower thing, but it doesn't matter for your brand, honestly. You can have not a lot of followers, was with my client, but still he got a lot of interests and clients out of his posts. So this doesn't go hand in hand. So you build real connections and you can get 1, 2 clients, and maybe that's already good. And they don't go and leave, like you just said. No, they stay with you because it's consistent. It's a little bit different trust level in it.
That's what I'm getting at, right? This Instagram, this just comes and goes, and all those numbers are not that meaningful. And I know people who have huge profiles and don't get clients, while LinkedIn, once you build real connection, you have a high chance of getting real clients.
Exactly. And they also stay in your network. If it be now a client or whoever, but yes, you have a chance to get real clients on there. People who are really interested in your service. They don't go and say after a month, no, I don't want this. It's they exactly.
Okay. So now that people have understood more or less what LinkedIn is, I think we spent now 20 minutes to explain the profile. Now we can talk about your work and why this is so helpful if one has the chance as from one to take it serious about LinkedIn, why one should work with an expert like you, and give us a rundown of what you offer, and then we'll ask some questions about why this is on such a high value.
Yes, for sure. Like you just said, or what we also just talked about, it takes time. So I think that's one of the biggest also things I can help with the whole LinkedIn management and strategy, to take this burden away from others and put their vision out there. I love to put other visions out there, help them get their clients, opportunities, whatever it is that they're looking for. And it's super time consuming. I see it myself. Going into all of this, building the brand, posting consistently, reaching out to people, engaging with them, targeted messaging, you call it. It takes a lot of time. So I think that's why it's sometimes nice if people want to invest in that, of course, and if they are serious about LinkedIn. It's not just that you say, oh, I do it, let's see where it goes. No, if you're serious about really growing your brand on LinkedIn, it takes, of course, time and consistency, but there is a huge potential in it. And that's where I can take a little bit the burden and the time management off their shoulders.
So what are you offering? Like can you give us like a concrete list, a little bit what you offer, so we can
Yes.
ask questions about specific services?
For sure. So basically, ghostwriting, but strategic ghostwriting, a lot more. I don't know if everybody knows now what is ghostwriting, but ghostwriting is basically I write in my clients' voices and I put the content out there for them. But it's not just that I post all the posts. I also do the whole strategy behind it. So I put the profile up, I engage with others in the comments, I targeted messaging in them in the sales navigator, what you have there. So it's the whole LinkedIn management, what I offer.
So I think that could be huge beneficial for a lot of people listening now, because I don't know how you're doing it. I don't know. I would imagine that you maybe record some small interviews with your clients, or they tell you about the job and you're writing things down, you research. I don't know how you're doing it for real, but that's how I would love to imagine it.
Exactly. It's actually a lot of research, like you said. Of course, you have calls at the beginning and I record it. So I also already know what is their vision, what are they working on actually. Get all this information. I also have the client's voice then already recorded. I get all the client information and I can then make then the posts out of it. But most of the clients, they also have already ebooks written, for example, or they have some writing material where I can see how do they write. So
And
this,
most
it's a lot of
importantly,
research.
podcasts. They have podcasts.
And that's true. Everything,
Most
actually.
important part of it.
True that. True. So that's how you get the
It's
information.
number one. Who
Yours is
needs the
perfect.
ebooks?
Exactly. Exactly. That's
Okay.
yeah.
To me, it sounds very nice as a therapist to have a chance to focus on your job and sit down with somebody like you and just have initial interviews, have conversation, share the ebooks and the podcasts. And then you can get like your information, you can understanding of what they do and how they do. You do your research, and then you start creating quality content in their names, and basically they own that content because it's in their name. So they get huge value on top of the LinkedIn contact they might get.
Exactly. It is then quality content because it's also very targeted. I know how to write on, or ghostwriter generally, they know how to write in the specific format they're putting out there. They're not making the mistakes that you would just quickly make when you write. And you have time to focus on, whatever you want to do on your coaching, other tasks, daily tasks you have.
I again will say, I repeat myself. I just want people to understand, if you have somebody who manages your social media profiles, that basically is just one drop into the water. It just comes, flows away, and disperses. No one ever looks at an Instagram post from 3 years ago. It just doesn't happen. It's just stuff that comes and goes. And yes, you have a lot of social media content managers, and they might do a lot of things, and it's all very interesting, but it's just meaningless content. I don't know how to say this nicely or correctly, but with the LinkedIn content, like you're writing articles, you're creating information, you're building a base of knowledge. That's most likely what you will do with therapists. You will talk about trauma, and then you will really have a quality content so people can learn something. That's what LinkedIn is about. Grown-up content for grown-up people. But people expect quality information in this. They just don't want a headline. You can't you sleep at night? Click here. That's not LinkedIn.
Exactly. And what you also said is important. It's all in their names. So everything will stay with them. It's not that I have my name below it, or I see it's their profile, their brand.
And in 3 years from now, an article that you write about, sleeping, whatever it is, about trauma, whatever you write, this article will have a value today, 3 years from now, and 3 years in the future, because it's quality content, it's informational content. And so people create, if they don't have their own ebook, they could basically maybe in 5 years from now take all the content you create and already have an ebook in a certain sense.
Because it's also longer forms. You write 100 to 400 words every post. And for sure, over the years, you can put it all together. You can even use it for other channels, whatever, where you're online and convert it.
I guess you're talking about cross-channel stuff right at the end. But I just want to get people this understanding that the stuff that you do, as you said, is more like a ghostwriter than like a social media post person. And I'm just trying to get people a feeling for LinkedIn. Why it's not an easy thing to start, because you can't just put as the regular 20-second post, or you can't sleep at night, I have solution, click here. That's never going to work on LinkedIn. So you write, you said 400 words, you write a small piece, serious, educative, academic, informative, can be funny, can be this, depending on the personality, the shows you will ghostwrite for, but it has to have value.
Exactly. It has to have value. Otherwise, on LinkedIn, the people also expect that. They will not click on your post otherwise. It's simple as that. That's why some people also wonder then why they don't get any likes or comments or reach, because it's not the content people want to read on LinkedIn, and they will just simply not click on it. It's better fit than maybe for Instagram, like you said, or other channels.
So I really want to explain this to people so clearly that if you go into LinkedIn, if you work with a person like you take something that you can keep. These are articles that you could print, that you could show your client live. You could print it out and give it to them to read about your work. It's value. You create value. Otherwise, you would not be working on LinkedIn content management. Now, let's go to the next logic question. If I would be your client, I'm a mean guy when I'm not on camera. So the camera is off. I'm like, and I said, I want 200 guests in the next 3 months and this and that. I would come with huge expectation. What do you think? It's a very hard question to ask. I know it's impossible, but what are realistic expectations? What are realistic time frames? What's real? People want to know, right?
It's a good question, actually. And I can maybe share also one story with my client, what we achieved. That's maybe, somewhere you can hold on to. But most people, I would say, where you can expect results if you start from zero, if you don't have anything at the beginning in place. Most people say 60 to 90 days, then it starts flowing, then it starts rolling, then the opportunities are starting to come in. And I've also seen this with my client. We started from zero with nothing. And after 1 month already, it was actually a little bit quicker. After 30 days, we already got the inbound leads, people interested in the first client already out of it. So it got really fast. But yeah, it was really fast. But now after 2 months, I see that it's getting a more solid foundation, that people also see the brand is building on a more foundation now after 2
That's
months. So
insane.
it goes actually really fast. And after 2 months, this one post of my client completely exploded. The impressions went from, I think, 100 to 1,000% up, and 10 inbound leads just on this one post. So people start trusting the client now a little bit more because he's consistently posting. So it can go fast, 60 to 90 days, I would say, as an orientation.
I've spoken to less than 100 therapists in the last 6 months, and I've never heard anyone, because I talk with everybody about marketing one way or the other. I never heard anyone who does anything starting from zero on social media who gets any lead in 60 days ever. So this is like epic in a certain sense, because all of the other channels, it's unperceivable that you get any kind of real lead, that somebody buys something within 60 days. That is, LinkedIn is a special tool. That's for certain.
Yes, that's for certain. And if you're consistent, if you know how to use it, you're consistent, then it can go quite fast. Yes, for sure.
Wow.
I mean, I've
That
seen
is,
it with the client, so yes.
obviously I'm doing everything wrong, but that's my charm. Ah. Well, I full professionally wrong doing things.
No,
Okay, let's talk about cross-platforms, because we're coming slowly towards the end of this conversation, and I'm also very interested myself because I like to do things wrong. And what about Medium? Is this a cross-platform that you would have in mind when you talk about LinkedIn? Where would you see cross-platform benefits?
that's a good question. I would say Medium, yeah, Substack is similar also. People have their own newsletters where they link to from LinkedIn for sure. That's actually a very good fit. That you have your LinkedIn where it's a little bit short form content, and you have your own newsletter then in place. You can promote your newsletter. You can bring actually people from your LinkedIn to your newsletter and bring them there into your funnel again. So Medium, Substack, I see more actually. And the rest, I don't know, cross-form platforms, but you can use the same content if you want and put it in a similar format and also on Instagram or on Facebook.
So Medium,
Like
Substack,
this.
and newsletter link would be the most logic and most classic. Or
Yes.
maybe if you, as a lot of the people that you listen now have a not so successful blog on their website.
That also LinkedIn has their own newsletters as well, if you want to start a newsletter there. Or you have your own blog on your website. Yeah, perfect.
I see this as a huge plus, because a lot of people start their own website. They all think, oh, I should have a blog. How funny would it be? And after 4 or 5 posts, it's getting hard to create content. So that's your job is a hard job. It's a very hard job, creating real quality content. Everybody can make a quick YouTube video, but writing a blog post, that's where for most people after 4 or 5 posts is basically gone with the wind. So they should also consider hiring you. Managing the LinkedIn would get them also a constant flow of quality content they can put on their website as blog post, which I think is something that a lot of people not having part of their calculation.
Yes, exactly. For blog post, that works well as well, because everything is a written format and more serious. So, yes.
You also talked last question. I can see personal enemy, generic content. Let's put it out there at the end.
Generic content. Yeah, just I think I said it at the beginning, maybe quickly, that I see so much company updates or corporate updates or whatever that people use it for this on LinkedIn, but it's changing. Trust me on that. It's not what people want to read anymore so much, that you just see, oh, wow, that's what you achieved. And that event you attended, and that's the company update. That's very generic. That doesn't say anything to who you are. That's maybe an important part. People want to see you. They want to hear your story. They want to see your brand and not the company behind it necessarily. Even if you have a company page on LinkedIn, it's always important to start with your personal brand, because there you can build everything you stand for. And you don't only have to talk about what you offer. You can sometimes put your personal stories in it for what you stand for. Be authentic, whatever it may be, because that's the human connection level. That's how people also buy from you. I would buy from a person, for example, where I see, okay, that's what they stand for. I can see who is this as a person, and not, okay, that's the company and that's the product they want to sell to me. That's a little bit also what you have to keep in mind on LinkedIn, that you build your brand and that people will trust you. You build authority like this. And then it's a lot easier to sell, or if you're not even there for selling, just to connect.
The final question, we're starting a whole new big thing and we have 5 minutes. So there you go. Put the final word on the future of mankind. Artificial intelligence is going to get interesting, right? When we more and more have those bots commenting, and a lot of more of so-called quality content will be artificially created. Are you ready to have already opinion about it? Are you using it also partly? Do you think it can be goodly integrated if it's smartly done, or you think it will destroy quality content in the medium run, or you think, no, that will be such a boost? Do you already have the final word on artificial intelligence in spiritual content creation?
I think if you use it as a support, it can be great if it doesn't substitute you. So if you...
Yeah, but generic. You talk about generic, right?
Generic content, you mean?
You talk about generic as the bad thing, because whenever you use artificial intelligence, it gets generic no matter what. So you can fight as hard as you fight. It will become automatically generic. That's why I thought you have an opinion on the subject.
I like this, yeah. But if you write already in your voice and you write the whole article yourself and you use, for example, the AI for sentence structure mistakes, grammar mistakes, whatever, that's fine. So that can be a great support in it. Yeah.
First of all, 99% artificial intelligence is going to erase your voice by doing the grammar checking and make you again sound generic. And it's very hard to train AI to keep your voice authentic and just take out the mistakes. It's pretty hard. And it's also very difficult for AI to detect what is voice and what are grammatical mistakes.
True. But you can train it a little bit. At least I do it with my content. Sometimes I train it. I put new prompts in it to see what's working, what's not working. So there's so many different opinions on AI, honestly. But a lot of people use it, I think, also on LinkedIn to help them write their content. As long as it's not super generic and super AI voice.
So you're still on the fence. So many who say it might be useful, must be careful, take it slow. Let's see where it can help. Let's not have the final say about artificial intelligence yet. So you're diplomatic.
Yeah, I think so, because there are really so many opinions even on LinkedIn. I see it the whole time. Some people say, it's so good. Then they say they cannot be the post created by AI anymore. So I use it, but as a support, and I like it in that way. Let's say it like this.
It's a sensitive subject because more and more people are using ChatGPT as a therapist. It's unbelievable or not, but there are already thousands and thousands of people who are trying to heal themselves, heal their trauma, using ChatGPT as a therapist. So it is a touchy subject for my audience.
It is. It is. I understand.
And by the way, I know a lot of friends who are professional translators who have seriously lost income over the last year and a half. Some of my friends are struggling with keeping their life. They have for years and years working for publishing houses as book translators. And a lot of publishing houses started to take the lower volume books that are most likely not going to bring much money and just make IE translation, and it's good enough, right? So I have friends who've lost serious income, and one of my friends used 20 years as a corporate website translator, which is a tricky thing. She's lost more than half of her clients who are now let even corporate content be just automatically translated. So it's a big thing in some areas already.
It is, for sure. It's crazy. And
all right then. Okay, we touched as many subjects as we could in those 15 minutes. And I think you did an amazing job showing yourself as a brand as a much more calm, much more relaxed person than I am. And I can feel valuable content, the slow force, the little water drop that makes the stone form the stone. So you're not running with it like me with the head against the stone and break the head. You just drop by drop. That's how you get something done.
steps.
And I believe that the people who listen to this podcast would rather trust you than me when it comes to content creation. Thank you so much, Victoria. It was a true pleasure to finally have Austrian on my podcast. And thank you so much from my side.
Thank you so much, Philipp, for having me and that I could share all the knowledge I gained also over the last few months. And I'm happy if it helps anybody out there listening. So yeah, thanks a lot for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.